welcome to the Hanze Procast episode. Today, I'm going to introduce Silvan Barelds. He's a fellow student at the Hanze University as well. And you're studying, say the correct term again of your study?
Nutrition dietetics.
Nutrition dietetics. And you have quite the journey you've gone through in the last 2 years, 3 years it was, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
true.
you can introduce yourself and give us explain what you did.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. This is actually the second time I'm doing a podcast for the Hanze Hogeschool. The first time was like 2 years ago, when my journey was beginning, and now it's the second time after a whole lot of more experiences. So now I started. I'm Silvan Barelds. I'm 25 years old. I started playing American football here in Groningen. Started as a defensive lineman for a year, then switched up to running back. Had a great season. Went to a tryout with my buddy Thomas and Jeroen in Düsseldorf for Düsseldorf Panthers. That's a GFL team, and they offered us an apartment and a spot on the team, and we went with it. We played there for a year, and I had an amazing season. And it was October, and suddenly I got a call from Caleb. And Caleb was an NFL scout, and he said, "Yo, man, I've seen your tape, followed you for a while, and I want you to be at the tryout in Tottenham Stadium in London in 3 weeks." I was like, man, is this real? Like,
Crazy, man.
I didn't believe it.
Big jump.
Yeah, it was so.
For the people,
it was so.
We need to say, Silvan, you're about 6'4", right? How tall are you?
6'5".
6'5", and you weigh 230, 235 probably. And you're very fast. You're very fast also. So
I can run a little bit. Yeah. So
keep going with
it worked, me switching up, because I told you I was defensive lineman here for a year. Then I was a running back. That really worked well here in Groningen. Then I went to Germany, and I switched up for my first year as tight end. So this was my first year as tight end, and I had an amazing season. Then NFL scouted me. I went to London with 3 weeks only to prepare for like every little weird thing, like all the combine stuff, the 40-yard dash, the Elcon, like all the drills I never did before. And you have to get the technique right for everything. And I had 3 weeks to prepare, so I was a little bit nervous still, but I performed amazing there, and it went great. And they just accepted to follow me for a year, and so that was that. That was the trial went amazing, and then I got scouted with my buddy Thomas for a professional American football team in the same city as we played before, RheinFire. And suddenly we were playing in the ELF last year. And yeah, man, that was an whole experience, because like the first game, in Groningen 3 years ago, we were playing for 30 people. Then suddenly the year after that, we were playing for Düsseldorf Panthers for 2,000-3,000 people. And that was an experience. Suddenly we were playing in the ELF, and my first game in the ELF was against Frankfurt for 15,000 people. And it was so extremely loud, and it was such a huge experience.
It's a great experience, huh? Something.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
You mentioned it. I have a question there, because you mentioned how I also played in Groningen, so I know how the feeling is and how the Dutch league is. And then you step it over to the German side, and GFL 2 it was I think when you guys played, right?
Yeah.
It's already a shift in professionalism. How did this when you got invited to London for the official NFL combine, and then the switch over to Düsseldorf, how did this impact your professional behavior in a sense? That probably did a lot for you as well, or?
Oh man, the switch up from Groningen to Düsseldorf, because in Groningen you average 15 to 20 people on training, with no coaches, maybe 1 or 2 coaches, just. And then we went to Düsseldorf to the tryout with Jeroen and Thomas, the friends of mine. and suddenly you see more than 100 athletes on the field. You have 20 coaches, and you're just looking your eyes. You're just looking at it. You're like, well, what is happening right there? You know, how's it so popular?
Yeah.
So that was an whole experience, of course. And then, of course, the year after at RheinFire, it was just an whole experience because it's just professional, and you haven't like our head coach was a former NFL head coach for 49ers, Jim Tomsula.
Oh, Tomsula,
And
yes.
yeah, and it was the whole experience was amazing, man. How professional it was, not only the practices but everything around it was just amazing, you know. So yeah.
That sounds amazing, man. And you mentioned before you in Düsseldorf in the first team you played, you already got the house, and I think you also got you got some benefits for playing on the team. This probably increased. But the question I'm having is, when you were starting with it, how much work did you do in addition to the organized practices? So if you went out yourself, obviously you probably hit the gym, but you also did some work on the turf, or how did you develop this into the player you were?
Before the Düsseldorf season, you mean?
Just to make this step and improve. What did you do on your own aside from it?
I mean, I started hitting the gym at I think 19. I was a bit late, I think. But I very really liked it, and I made a lot of progress, and I was into it, and I was also into health and nutrition, and that's why I chose my study, of course. Before the Düsseldorf season, it was COVID. It was COVID season, so the gyms were closed, and we had to, me and Thomas and Jerome had to go to turf fields, and just do drills together on a speed ladder, run track, do sprints and everything, you know. So we had to prepare ourselves for that season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that you have your own background in nutrition and diet. So if we look at it, for example, from the supplements the situation, well, we from the Hanze Procast, we have also released our own guidelines for developing athletes. And for us, the most important supplements that we had in our pyramid, so we structured it through must-haves, nice-to-haves, and luxury items. But for example, in the must-have category, for us, it's like creatine, omega-3s, and vitamin D3. Is there anything else that you might want to add into for you, which is a must-have? And then we can maybe exchange that. And for us also, we have then in the because in the
like for me, all my supplements are like for me, all my supplements are must-haves.
Okay.
Because everything you can add which benefits you is a must-have for me. Because that's how much I'm into it. Like what you're saying, vitamin D, omegas, and the creatine is for every athlete is a must-have. Doesn't like whether you're on a low impact, low intensity trainings or high intensity, it doesn't care how many times you work out a week. Like those supplements you're naming there, those are must-haves for everyone. I'm using a couple more. I'm using collagen, of course, for bone density, muscle fiber. I'm using ashwagandha for hormonal things. I'm using zinc also for hormonal benefits. I'm using magnesium citrate. I'm using, I have to think, man, damn. Using probiotics.
Any other amino acid compounds or like glutamine or something?
No, I don't use amino acids. I use a protein shake with the creatine, like after workout, because I don't really like to have a big meal after workout. I just want to, have a small sip of protein. For the rest, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Like, I think that's it.
It's a lot already, and it all makes a lot of sense. And you're a professional athlete in that sense, so you also have to take care of your body in a certain way when you train hard and are really involved. And for us also, we had a 3-tier list. So the must-haves, as we discussed already, and a need for basically any person, but especially people that exercise, as we said, omegas, vitamin D, and like creatine. And then like nice to have for me, it's from a bodybuilding standpoint. For me, for example, whey proteins, they just make everything more convenient. You can just get your 25 grams of protein to a shake if you have to get it in, or like have just want on the road or something. And then
yeah, for sure, it's easy, it's convenient.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you use caffeine in any form. So if you drink coffee, tea, or use a pre-workout, something like that.
I don't use pre-workouts, but I like coffee. Like in the morning, I like a cup of coffee. I don't need coffee before training, but I take a cup, maybe two. I take coffee after the practice, after a workout, to speed up my metabolism. And I don't take caffeine after like 2-3 p.m. Like none at all.
Yeah.
For sleep benefits.
Because for me, it's always the bodybuilding side that still plays into it. So like pump enhancing products are always something I've been around and I've been using a lot. And they also often come in combination with caffeine, which can definitely increase intensity and the work that you're producing. And then in the last category, we had luxury products. So it's zinc, which is, for me, it helped me a lot during puberty when I was just eating, and my skin also got disrupted. As you said, the hormone balance, testosterone balance for me also. And magnesium you mentioned as well, very nice. Especially you mentioned citrate as well, because there's different forms, different bioavailability.
If you go to the shop and you buy the cheapest magnesium, you get magnesium oxides, and that's just it's trash. You can throw it away. So buy the right magnesium, it absorbs well, and it's good in bioavailability, like citrate or other ones.
Yes, at the pharmacy or something. Spend a bit more money if you want to really.
A bit more. It's not even that much. It's a bit more.
It's not that much, but the efficiency is definitely way more. And those were the luxury more products, because I think they're not super essential, but they can, if you are willing to invest and step it up, then I think they can give you a great boost, especially in strength related sports that go through like muscle building, and where you want to really focus on the recovery through magnesium and focus on the muscle building through the testosterone.
And I think like things like creatine, like it's huge, that amount you're getting, it's huge. But things like zinc, if it helps you like 0.5%, 1%, it helps you, and that's why I think it's worth the investments if you're like into that, into working out with that. So
small percentages also just stack up to become
marginal gains is
at least something that is improving, So we discussed supplements, then maybe you can give us some insight into your recovery, because you played football, which is a very violent and high contact sport. So there's different things that appear, maybe bruises, injuries, or like smaller things that come up. How did you deal with these things throughout the last week, for example?
Recovery is really important. Like during my season, if the practices, if the games are continuing, my workouts in the gym are like 50-60% of what I'm doing normally. So because your immune system needs to chill out a little bit, because the games are really heavy. It's a heavy toll on your body, the practice as well. So you need to chill out in the gym a little bit more. For recovery, you have to be active a lot. You have to walk a lot. You have to bike a lot. Get the blood flow going. You can do things like cryotherapy, of course, right? Kneeling, floating, everything. I got an EMS system. Okay. It's like it gives you muscles like little shocks. That also increases blood flow. You can foam roll, of course, for blood flow and everything. Recovery is the most important thing there almost is, man. So
So quick question, you mentioned you have an EMS device. So is it like I know the EMS gyms where you get the full suit and they fit it to you. How are you using this? Is it also a full suit, or?
No, it's I said EMS, but it's a TENS machine. The TENS is like you have electronic pads you can place on the muscle, and it just stimulates the muscle, and that's why it's increasing the blood flow. We also got like I don't forget like massage guns. I also use massage guns for increasing the blood flow. You can work around the muscle. Yeah.
That's interesting. And also personally, well, I'm training. When I train, I usually train for hypertrophy, so a lot of muscle tissue damage involvement, and I'm a big fan of the massage gun as well. I've had one for probably 5 years now when those things came out, and it's been a steady, always good investment.
They're amazing, man. Yeah, I love them.
Just with the football bruising, it's a different thing than to massage. That should not be massaged, at least.
Yeah, don't.
But it's once you get into training, you can. Well, for me, it's with my experience, I can like distinguish the pain that I'm feeling in a tissue, so I know if I'm massaging something and it's muscle pain, or if there's like a blood puddle from a bruise or something. So it becomes a process through the journey, I think, to learn this.
Yeah.
You probably can relate to that. You know your body well as well. So that's an important thing to keep in mind when you play contact sports. Do not massage the bruising. It makes it worse, usually.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, so we marked out your essential supplements and talked about that. And then I have two more questions I want to ask you. If you're giving advice to someone who's trying to develop into a better athlete, what would you say is the most important, maybe the three most important things that they need to keep their focus on in order to develop?
Well, first of all, stay consistent with your practices and everything. Just stay consistent. Have motivation, find internal motivation for you to do the workout. That's the second thing. And just have fun. That's maybe the most important thing there is. Have fun. If you have fun doing it, it's way more easy. So yeah.
Okay. And now the last question: if you could talk to your former self, your younger version of you, and you could give them advice, one clinical advice, which would it be when you look back at what you did and where you could maybe have made improvements?
Oh man, maybe take it easy on yourself sometimes, because when I have an injury or something, I always make the choice during the season to continue and not to take a rest. And you can fuck up your body really bad with that. So maybe if I can talk to my younger self, I want to make some more business decisions and just take a rest when needed, and take it easy sometimes.
Okay. Well, that's a very good advice. Before you said consistency, which I would always emphasize for anyone in any sport. If you keep doing it with the right mindset, you will eventually get better at it, even if you have plateaus or something. And then learning what your body is telling you and responding to it, and not. And I can relate to that very much. If you have like a slight injury somewhere and you're still saying like, oh, it's okay, or you're developing a cough but you're still going, those are things that can in the end just make everything worse. It's a step backwards in a sense.
Yeah, it does, man. Like I played without knee ligaments for a season. I played with a ruptured abdomen muscle for a season, and I can tell you, man, it's not fun. And just make the right decision. Take it easy on yourself. You have a lot of years to spend. Everybody's saying, "Yeah, life is going so fast," and you're like, if you snap your fingers, you're that old, you can't play anymore. But you need to take it easy on yourself. So yeah, you can have more fun. Yeah.
Yes, very wise words. Okay, Silvan, I'm very happy that you did this episode with us today, and you shared some good knowledge here, and I think that's very nice that you were here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, I wish you all the best with your training and with your study and with your playing. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And
again, thanks for having me, man. It was a lot of fun. So yeah.